Hey guys, welcome back. PG Minington here with episode 3 of Let's Get Technical Unleashed. Now this episode, we plan on doing so many things, it's not even funny. I went mining for who knows how long, it was forever. We're planning on making a clipboard first, actually, but I'm just going to go ahead and go over what I've gotten. I think I got about 3 or 2 more emeralds. I got a crap ton of tin, I believe, yeah. So there's 37 tin, which is pretty good. We got about 59 copper, and we're doing pretty good on resources, which is good. So what I really would like to do is grab ourselves a few pieces of iron. I don't think we need quite that much for a clipboard, but I'm going to grab 6 just because, and let's grab out the refined iron that I was making. Yeah, so as you see, I did get a good amount of resources because we really are going to need them to get started, and as you see, I have some I haven't even cooked yet. You'll see why I haven't cooked them quite yet. So let's go ahead and make ourselves this clipboard, but first we're going to need some, let's see, we're going to need some sugarcane, and I actually started a sugarcane farm over here, as you can see right there, and it took me a while to work out the design, but everything is nice, and it generally flows to the corner once you smack it. So that is nice in case you don't get it. And these rubber trees here were actually exactly where I said they were. I just couldn't happen to find them. And there are some berries. We need to go get those later, but as you see, we actually have a few rubber trees here. Now, I will be showing you guys how to harvest those, but I won't be doing that quite yet. First, I do want to make that clipboard, which is pretty easy. We just need a few pieces of paper, I believe. Let's go ahead and do this, and then you're going to need 6 pieces of wood, just like so, and there you go. You have yourself a clipboard. Now, this is actually a part of Darkcraft, I believe, and let's see, I believe they changed the recipe up a little bit, or not the recipe, but the way it works, but I do know that you can actually make things using this. Now you're going, okay, why did you just make a chest? Well, I would like to show you guys how you are actually able to upgrade your chest, because we do have a wonderful mod installed called the Iron Chest mod. So let's go ahead and run over to here, and we need just a tiny bit more iron, and the reason we're doing this is because we're sort of running out of storage, and we're going to have to do it soon anyway. So let's go ahead and outline this with iron, and let's go ahead and plop that down, and as you see, we have normal chest to iron chest upgrade. I will go ahead and show you guys all the upgrades you are able to make with this. So let's go ahead and say chest upgrade, and here are all the chests you're able to upgrade: iron to gold, gold to diamond, copper to silver, silver to gold, and the list goes on, and diamond to obsidian. I'm not exactly sure the changes that undergoes. I'm pretty sure it's just a color change, but it may be that you can't explode it. I'm not quite sure if they ever fixed that or not. But yeah, the Iron Chest mod is pretty dang sweet. So what we're going to do is go ahead and equip this in our hand here, and make sure you pick which chest that you actually want to upgrade before you right click, because sometimes it will actually just upgrade it right away. So I'm thinking that this chest is actually going to be the one that we are going to want to upgrade. That one looks pretty full, but let's go ahead and do this one. Now you will see that it does split off, but it makes this one chest turn into what this entire chest was on its own. Now you do see that I have quite a few tree taps in here, and we are going to be using those this episode to make something that's going to allow us to do some pretty cool stuff. So the next thing that I said we were going to do in the last episode was going to be using this bat box. So how are we going to get energy in that back box? Well, that's a good question. Let's go ahead and grab out our refined iron, and that should be everything. As you see, I did get about 24 rubber tree saplings after I planted all of these and used our 4 smiths, which are pretty dang cool, in my opinion. Look how fast they mine. That's awesome. And if you right-click with 4 smiths, they will actually do this. I did actually get this out of a spoils bag, so I will be showing you guys that recipe later. It is actually going to be needing some force gems and some iron. Really no big deal, but it's pretty dang cool, and I will probably be using those much later, and you can actually break some things with them. I'll show you guys later. Anyways, rambling on as always, let's go ahead and make ourselves a generator. But before we make a generator, I kind of made a mistake. We actually misplaced our bat box. You don't really want it too far underground, and you definitely don't want that little dot facing up, because otherwise you can't really do anything. You really would like it facing off to the side, and since it's not doing that, what we're going to need to do is make ourselves a little bit of bronze, and I believe we have ourselves some, yeah, as you see, I made ourselves a little bit of bronze. It's really no big deal in making bronze. It's just, I'll actually show you guys the recipe. I'll make one. Let's go ahead and grab 1 piece of tin and 3 pieces of copper, and right there is how you make it. So let's go ahead and place our tin there, copper there, and boom. That is how you make your bronze. Now, bronze is pretty useful. I believe you can make some pretty nice armor out of it, and it is equivalent to, I'm not exactly sure. I believe it's a little bit better than iron, so that's some pretty good beginning game tools and some other things like that. So you can make a chest plate, anything you really would want to do. I believe you can make a pickaxe, everything like that. But what we're going to do is make ourselves a wrench. Now this is going to be a wrench that is going to be able to not only rotate this thing, but it's also going to be able to break it successfully without actually breaking the entire thing. So that is great, and I'm not exactly sure if that would break if you didn't have one of those, but I would much rather be on the safe side because many of the IC2 items will break if you do not have the proper wrench. Now you will see that if you really wanted to, you can make yourself a wrench using a electronic circuit and a RE battery, but currently we do not have a power supply, so we do want to work on the power supply before we work on anything else. So here is what I would really like to do. What I'm thinking we are going to do is place our bat box here, and as you see, that dot is facing in this direction. And what we're also going to do is grab ourselves a little bit more copper. I just grabbed it all because I don't know. And let's see, I need a little bit of rubber, and once we get all of that, we're going to be able to do something pretty cool. We're going to grab ourselves some cabling. We actually have 1 piece of cabling, and I have rubber on me, which I did not notice. Let's go ahead and pull out our clipboard, which is awesome, by the way. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this, and let's see, that should be enough for the time being. Let's go ahead and take our copper and do this, and now we have ourself 7 copper cables. So with this copper cable, we're actually going to run a few, let's say 1 here, and actually let's break you, and let's see, let's go ahead and say 1, 2, and there we go. So that should be all of the space that we're going to need for these machines. Now you're going, all right, machines. What are you talking about when you're saying machines? Well, the first thing that I would really like to make is going to be a macerator, and you can say that however you want, really, macerator, macerator, I don't know. Alright, so as you see, we need ourselves a machine block, which is a little bit of a feat to make. All you need to do is throw yourselves a little bit of iron into a furnace, and obviously you're going to need to cook it up. So let's go ahead and grab this, and boom, you're going to turn your iron ingots straight into this yummy refined iron. Now this refined iron you're easily able to make straight over into your machine blocks. It's just like a chest, so let's go ahead and grab ourselves a machine block, and I believe we're going to need 4, actually I think it's 2 pieces of flint. So let's go ahead and search for our flint. Let's see, do we have enough? Alright, so we need 1 more piece of flint, no big deal. I'm assuming that we have some somewhere else. We possibly don't. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we have all of the flint that we need, and now we're going to need ourselves the thing that I was talking about. We're going to need one of these guys, so that's really no big deal. Let's make sure we have a little bit of redstone on us, and we need a few more of those copper cables. So let's go ahead and grab those really quickly, and you can actually do this recipe individually if you'd like, just like I did. Let's go ahead and grab all 6 of those, and it's no cheaper. You just don't waste as much rubber if you don't necessarily need all 6. That is the individual recipe for that, so that's pretty dang cool that you can do that. Let's go ahead and grab our clipboard out, and keep in mind this is from Darkcraft. It may not seem like it is, but it's from Darkcraft, and it's actually pretty cool. So let's go ahead and take this, and we're going to place some refined iron, and you know what? I think they actually made it where it has to be copper. I honestly don't remember this recipe. Why do I not remember this recipe? Hold on. Let's see, so they changed it over into force ingots. Why would they do such a thing? You know what? Let's use force ingots. This is going to be the first use of our force ingots. Now, what you're going to want to make sure that you have are these force gems, and the force ore, I believe, looks like it's sort of like an emerald, but it is actually a, let's see, it's actually a glowy emerald yellow kind of thing. I'm sure you guys actually saw when I mined the first bit of it. So that is how you make that stuff, and you're going to just take that, and then boom, that's how you make yourself force ingots. So now let's go ahead and go into the clipboard and do this once more. And I didn't know why that didn't work the first time, but I guess they changed the recipe, or I was just doing it wrong. That is always a possibility. As you see, we get 2 electronic circuits from that, so that recipe I will be abusing because that is pretty cool. Alright, so now we just need ourselves a little bit of cobble, which we have. Let's go ahead and type in macerator again, and we should be able to do this, and let's go ahead and make ourselves our first machine. So what we're going to do is boom, and one more, and as you see, we have ourselves a macerator. Now, if you put it down, as you can see, we have no power. So why is there no power in our bat box? Well, we're going to have to make ourselves something called a generator, obviously to make ourselves a little bit of power. And let's see, I hear some damage being taken outside. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Let's go ahead and close that door. Alright, so let's go ahead and make ourselves one of these guys. As you see, we need a little bit of refined iron and an RE battery. So I believe we have all of that stuff covered. All we need now is ourselves an iron furnace or a machine block. As you see, we can use, and just a cobblestone. I honestly don't care which way I do it because I'm planning on just going crazy this series, and we're going to have a ton of resources. So any difficulties that are put on us, no big deal. I do not mind at all. You know what? Let's just go ahead and make it this way because I don't want to have to go back to a chest. So let's go ahead and say boom, and we're going to throw our RE battery on top of this like so. And that is not the proper recipe. Let's see. I probably forgot something. Does it? Oh, let's see. I did do that right, didn't I? Let's see. Oh, you need a machine block. I knew that. Let's go ahead, and I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to say machine block, and now we should have everything that we need. I do not know why that did not work the first time. Let's see. All right, there we go. There's a generator, and I think I just did the recipe wrong. I probably did. It's been a while since you make generators because you get to the point where you're like, hey, I have some good stuff, and there's no need in making things anymore because I'm going to be lazy. So alright, so basically what you really want to do now is set it up where you can get power to your battery box. Now you can do that in many different ways. As you know, let's see, 2, 4, as you know, 6 sides are on a cube. So what you're going to want to be able to do is input some energy into a few of those sides at least, unless you want to use some copper cabling. Now the downfall to copper cabling is you do lose a little bit of energy, but if you're only carrying it over one block, you're not going to lose all that much. But once we get much later into the game, we'll be able to use some much nicer things, and that will be pretty cool. So all of these sides that have like the blank pattern instead of this little orange dot that was right there, those are the sides that you're actually going to be able to input energy into, and the orange dot is going to be the side that's going to be outputting energy. So that is pretty awesome the way that they set that up. And if you do have any texture errors, you might want to like unlog and then relog, and then you'll actually be able to see that dot. I've had that happen before, so if you aren't seeing your orange dot, either right-click on it with your wrench or relog, and that should fix any of your issues. So now what we're going to do is throw a bit of our charcoal in there, and that's not going to be permanent, by the way. That hole in the wall is just temporary. Let's grab this, and you know what? Let's just use some of the coal just because. And let's see, as you can see, our energy is now going up. Let's go ahead and throw all of you in there. And you actually can charge up some RE batteries in there, which is pretty cool. And let's see, what else can we make this episode? I'm thinking what we're going to want to do is make ourselves an extractor. Now, an extractor is going to make the most out of all of the rubber that you create. So as you see, we need ourselves one more machine block. Let's go ahead and grab this, and I really would like to figure out how this thing works. So let's see, I think that weights it evenly, and I honestly don't know how any of that works, but we will be figuring out Dartcraft much later. So as you see, we have a good bit of things that we need. What we need to grab now is 2 more tree taps. So let's see, where do I have some wood? I believe the wood is actually in one of these chests, but I do not know where. Let's see, maybe I did use up some of that wood. So what we're going to do is just grab out some of these, and we should be able to say boom, and we're just going to grab about 2 more of these. So let's say 1, actually let's say 1, and then let's go boom, and now we have ourselves all 4 tree taps that we're going to need to make ourselves an extractor. So the default way of grabbing yourself some rubber is going up to one of these rubber trees, and I don't have any of the saplings on me or I would show you them, and you're actually going to right click on this little sap spot. And I did actually just waste this because we're not going to be able to use this tree tap now. No big deal. As you see, you just click on these little yellow spots and you will get some resin. So this sticky resin is going to be cooked up in a furnace, and it will turn straight over into the black rubber that you see in my inventory right here, and that is what you're going to use to make all of your electronic circuits, copper cables, everything like that, and it's pretty cool. Now, obviously, you can use these rubber bars as well, and that is awesome, but I do like using the general IC2 rubber opposed to the Mine Factory loaded rubber, just because it's a lot more, it feels right, unlike the weird bar looking texture. I don't know, I just like using this rubber a lot more. So what we're going to need to do now is grab ourselves one more of these, because as you will see once I start to make this, you're not actually going to be able to use a damaged tree tap, I do not believe. So let's go ahead and throw you in there, and you will see right there. Let's see, let's press, I hope I didn't just break anything, I'm sorry if I did. Let's go ahead and do this, and let's take our machine block, and let's place you right there. We do need to scoot you up, and as you see, we're unable to use our damaged tree tap. There cannot be any metadata, which is after that colon. So let's go ahead and throw our tree tap here, and as you see, we have ourselves another extractor. Or an extractor. Now this extractor is going to be awesome. As you see, it does power up just like this one does, and it does have a rather small internal buffer. That means it can store a little bit of energy, so if you do run out, no big deal, but you do want to pretty much keep this thing stocked up with things at all times, and it is very costly to do, but it is definitely worth it in the end. So let's go ahead and show off both of these machines. Let's go ahead and show this one off first. Now it will be rather slow, but as you see, it's going, we have 49 sticky resin right now, and you guys will be able to see what we are going to get out of that. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves some iron ore while that cooks up, and let's throw this straight over into our macerator. Now this macerator is going to be able to actually double our ores, which is going to be pretty sweet, and that's why I kind of derped up and I did all of this stuff, and I should not have cooked it all up. Now do keep in mind that some of the ores are unable to be doubled, but iron, as you see, is actually able to be doubled, which is rather nice. Let's go ahead and pull out the iron dust that we just got, and easily we can run over here and just cook that up. And this will turn straight over into an iron ingot, and obviously you can cook it straight back into a refined iron if you would like to. Alright, so there is one more thing that we do need to check on. As you see, the extractor has used about 2 sticky resin, and we got 6 rubber out of 2 sticky resin, which means it actually triples your rubber output. So that is really awesome, because rubber is pretty hard to get, and it does take a while to work. So if we automated this, it would be so much easier, but that would be much, much later in the series, and for now, we're just getting the basic machines going. Alright, so now the next thing you're going to be wondering is, how do I get something that's going to cook my things faster? Let's go ahead and type in furnace, and I did not mean to do all caps. Let's go ahead and make ourselves an iron furnace, and then turn that straight over into an electric furnace. But first things first, we do need to make ourselves a few more pieces of copper. So let's go ahead and do this, and let's say rubber. Now, we are not going to have a rubber shortage very much longer, because we do have that extractor over there going crazy. And do keep in mind, an entire stack of sticky resin will not go in here, because it'll actually produce 3 stacks of sticky resin, so you will have to actually, go back and look at that from time to time and make sure it's not overflowing. Now, the next thing we're going to do is take a little bit of iron, and we're going to make ourselves another one of these, or another few of these force ingots, and what we're going to do with these is make ourselves a few more of these electronic circuits. And I really love this clipboard. I believe you actually have the portable crafting table, which is just a stick and a crafting table. I don't really like that, because it does actually require you to have your inventory looking like this, which means nothing here. So I don't know if they've changed that, but I just didn't like the way it used to be, and we do not have, you know what, let's see what happens. Ooh, that actually maintains. Okay, I really like that. It actually maintains its own inventory, which means if I wanted to, I could actually store some things in there, and I could say an entire stack of force gems could just go right there, and I could just run around scot-free and have all of those in there. So that's pretty cool that it maintains its own inventory. So we did grab everything we need, I believe. Let's just go ahead and make ourselves one of the, we can either do a machine block or an electronic, or not an electronic, an iron furnace. So let's make ourselves that iron furnace, and I believe we're just needing a little bit more redstone, and no big deal. We may as well take half of what we have, and now what we should be able to do is make ourselves an electronic furnace. So let's see. We have ourselves an electronic furnace, and the next step above that is obviously an induction furnace, and that's much harder to get, and we're going to have to be doing some crazy things at that point to get that. But we'll be getting there eventually. So as you see, we have ourselves an electronic furnace, and what you can do is take your iron dust and automatically shove it straight into your electronic furnace, and instead of using coal power, you're actually using your energy from the generator, which indeed is coal, but it's no big deal because the conversion rate, I believe, is much higher, and the time it takes for all of this to cook up is much less than it would be if you were doing it in a different manner. So let's go ahead and throw some coal in there, and you will see that there is an internal buffer here. I'm not exactly sure how big it is. I think it's either 10 or 20,000. Don't quote me on that, but this is a 40,000 internal buffer, and it will only output 32 EU per tick. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab ourselves the chest plate that I got out of that spoils bag and right click to put it on our body. And there's one more item that we're actually going to be needing to get this episode, and next episode we're going to hopefully be getting into some pretty cool stuff such as computer craft and things like that. That'd be pretty cool if you ask me. We are going to need a little bit of stone, so let's go ahead and throw that in there. And I believe we're going to need about 6, so there is that. And we are actually going to make one more thing. This is actually a part of the... What mod is this? This is called Equivalent Exchange 3, and I did actually go out the other night, and I was able to get a few shard of minium, which is pretty awesome, just because those are pretty rare to get from mob drops, and as you see, I died over there like 50 times. It was ridiculous, but what we should now be able to do is, I might be in peaceful, because I about died like 5 times over there, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going into peaceful. And then I got lost, and then I don't even know. Anyways, I died like 5 times, though, and then I went into peaceful, though. Keep in mind, Warhawk. Okay, so enough of the side note. Let's go ahead and make ourselves the shard of minium, or not the shard of minium, the minium stone. So the minium stone is actually pretty easy to make. All you really need is a little bit of gold. Let's go ahead and look up the recipe so that I'm not telling you the wrong thing. You need a little bit of gold and a little bit of iron, and we do need a little bit more of this stuff. So let's go ahead and, you know what, let's make about 11. And how are we doing for energy? Yeah, as you see, we're doing pretty good on energy, and that just refills anytime that it needs to. So let's go ahead and take our stone, and we do not have any gold on us, but no big deal because we do have a little bit right here. And next episode, I'm hoping that we should be able to automate a few of these things over here, or if not automate, at least make it a little bit easier for them to be used, and I'll show you guys how we will do that. But let's go ahead and make ourselves this minium stone. So let's go ahead and take our stone and do this, and let's place the core in the middle. Now we have ourselves an inert stone, and you're going to surround it with 8 shard of minium. Now this shard of minium are actually by killing mobs, and those mobs will give you a random chance to get a minium stone. So this minium stone can be used to convert anything of an equal EMC value over into itself. So as you see, I'm actually able to turn this, and I believe if I press G, you're actually able to turn it back into dirt. So you can actually cycle through those things, and we can turn it to cobble. Now you will notice that we cannot turn it into stone. Now the reason for that is because to get stone, it actually requires a little bit of coal, and thus raising the EMC value. And I'm sorry I was at a loss of words there for a second. I figured it out. I'm proud of myself. Also, what I did do over the last episode when I went mining, you saw all those oreberry bushes that I found. Now these right here are all of those oreberry bushes, and if you place them inside of a dark room, you're actually able to grow them. Now they will only grow in a dark room, I believe, and I know that you're only able to place them in a dark room. I'm pretty sure that it requires a dark room for them to grow, and do keep in mind that they will actually hurt you if you bump into them, but all you have to do is right click on them, and you'll be getting yourself some of these oreberries. Now as you see, I do have aluminum ore berries, tin ore berries, and iron ore berries. Now these actually come from the mod Tinker's Construct, which we will be going over completely and thoroughly, hopefully in a near episode. I did get some clay in order to make ourselves some grout, and I really wanted this minium stone to be able to do some awesome stuff. So let's go ahead and show you guys what we are able to do with this minium stone. I think there is a recipe to get it. Let's see, let's go ahead and take you, and as you see, we can turn that straight over, obviously, back into clay, which is pretty cool, but there's a bunch of other things that we are actually able to do with the minium stone, and I think I'll be showing you guys that next episode. I'll show one little thing here. As you see, this will actually turn into gold, and you can turn it back over, and if you actually have 8 pieces, or actually, is it 4 pieces, 2,000 EMC? Yeah, it's about 4 pieces of gold, and you're able to turn that over into diamonds, so that is pretty dang cool. Let's go ahead and make ourselves that last thing that we were needing. What were we going to make? We were going to make ourselves our compressor, I believe, so let's go ahead and grab ourselves the rest of the material needed for that. and we should be able to make ourselves the compressor. So there is all of that. Let's place you there, and something else went there, but I'm not exactly sure what it is, so let's go ahead and figure this out. Now the compressor is actually going to be, we did not make a machine block, that is surprising. Okay, but the compressor is actually going to be able to compress some things, and I'll be able to show you guys that much later because I don't think we quite need it yet, but it's going to be something to have, and it's going to be nice to have somewhat early in the game. So now we have all 4 of the machines that we're going to be needing, and I'm actually going to need to install a mod because we don't actually have rotary macerators, which was kind of weird to me. We have induction furnaces, and I think we have, let's see, compressor. We do not have singularity compressors either, but you can actually compress cobblestone, I'm assuming, over into this in there. I may be wrong. You know what? You might actually not be able to do that. That's pretty cool that you're actually able to, compress cobblestone though. But anyways, this episode we got so much accomplished, and I am very proud of us. We're actually able to get all 4 machines, a macerator, a compressor, a furnace, as well as an extractor. Now that extractor is going to be a major help in terms of rubber, and that is going to be awesome. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If this helps you out at all, or if you enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button down below, as well as the subscribe button. And I'm sorry for the verbal issues today. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been PG Mining 10, and I hope to see you guys next episode. Peace.